Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. I hope you all are doing well. It is the game review to Everton's 3-0 defeat to Aston Villa at Villa Park on Saturday. Rafa Benitez's Everton side suffering their first defeat of the 2021-2022 Premier League season, and not a great defeat, was it? No defeat is good, let's be honest. No defeat, you don't sit here after any defeat and say, yeah, that was a good result. That no defeat is good, but this one was especially bad, wasn't it? Again, just like on Monday night against Burnley, when Everton had a bit of a 6-minute spell of madness where we all of a sudden went from 1-0 down to 3-1 up. On Saturday against Villa, we had a 9-minute spell of badness. However, this time it was madness, but it was badness, but madness. However, this time it, of course, went in the favour of the opposition team. And Everton all of a sudden went from doing quite well, managing the game well, battling, fighting, working hard, to all of a sudden being 3-0 down and the game just being completely out of our reach and our first defeat of the season looming. And yeah, like I said, not a great result whatsoever, but certainly not a game that I think 3-0 is a fair scoreline for, to be honest with you. And I think if you were to ask any Aston Villa fan, they'd probably admit it as well. Not that it makes any difference, because it doesn't. You don't get any points for saying that, the game didn't deserve to be 3-0, because ultimately we lost 3-0 and that's it. But it certainly wasn't a 3-0 game of football. I don't feel it's a scoreline that would almost reflect Everton being beaten quite heavily and performing quite poorly throughout the game. And I don't think that was how the game went whatsoever. I actually think Everton managed the game really well in the first half. I think both sides had chances, but Everton, were keeping a hold of the ball and were sort of keeping Aston Villa at bay. I think Yerry Mina and Michael Keane done really well to keep Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins at bay and keep them quiet in the first half. And then I actually think in the opening first 10 or 15 minutes of the second half, I think we started the better side. To be honest with you, I think we were the more likely to score. We were threatening more than they were. Solomon Rondon was holding the ball up well. Damari Gray was getting forward, creating chances for himself. Had a couple of really, really good chances that, on another day could have easily, burst the back of the net, and it could have been a different scoreline. But ultimately, we didn't take those chances. And like I said, in a sort of mad 9-minute spell of craziness, Aston Villa all of a sudden get their first, second and third, and the game becomes completely out of Everton's reach and out of Rafa Benitez's reach, and we're all sitting here talking about a disappointing result. We are going to get into it, of course, all in today's video, in today's live stream. It is the game review. You're watching live, don't forget to get your live comments in so we can get involved with as many of them as we possibly can, and if you're watching the YouTube video, leave them down below as well. So obviously, as any game day does, it really kicks off at 2 p.m, doesn't it? If you're playing at 3, kicks off at 2. Today, obviously, on Saturday, we were playing at 5:30. So the match day really started at 4:30 when the team news was released. And we did a couple of murmurs beforehand. Obviously, before the team news was announced, we saw the video of the players coming off the bus and getting into the stadium, and those rumours on Twitter that were circulating on various different social media sites were indicating that Richarlison and Jordan Pickford were both unavailable for this game through injury. Now, I don't think anybody wanted to believe this. I think we all sort of buried our heads in the sand a little bit and thought, I'm not listening to any rumours until the team news comes out. Obviously, the players were filmed getting off the bus and getting into the stadium. There was no Jordan Pickford, no Richarlison, no Seamus Coleman, no James Rodriguez. So I think that's when everybody really started to worry. And then, of course, Rafa Benitez's team was announced at 4:30, and we got the news that James Rodriguez, Richarlison, Jordan Pickford and Seamus Coleman were all out injured for this one. We later found out that Seamus Coleman, Richarlison and Jordan Pickford could be out for around 2 to 3 weeks. Richarlison picked up a knock in the game against Burnley after a tackle from James Tarkowski that was just waved away, and the referee didn't even decide to talk to him. Absolutely disgusting decision. The club fear that he could be out for around 2 to 3 weeks, I believe. Jordan Pickford had picked up a shoulder injury in training, and that could keep him out for 2 to 3 weeks. And Seamus Coleman had picked up a knock in training as well, again could keep him out for 2 to 3 weeks. James Rodriguez wasn't available due to fitness, and obviously, as we've just spoken about an hour ago, probably not available because he won't be at the club cup next week. And Jean-Philippe Gbamin was out with a knock as well. He had sort of felt that he wasn't, he might have felt a bit of a bit of discomfort in training, and therefore didn't want to risk it. And obviously we know Fabian Delph has been out for a long time. So yeah, we were already going into, I said it in the instant match reaction, we were already going into what was a very difficult game against a really good Aston Villa side. Really tough test, our toughest test of the Premier League season so far. We were already going into it weakened, without Dominic Calvert-Lewin, of course, which we knew about, before the game because of the injury he sustained a couple of weeks ago. And then all of a sudden, an hour before the game, we're going into it without Richarlison, who's our focal point up front, Seamus Coleman, who's the club captain and had been playing really well, and obviously Jordan Pickford, who's the number one. And from that point on, and we saw the team, obviously Asmir Begovic come in for Jordan Pickford. No big real issue with that. Ben Godfrey come in at right back for Seamus Coleman. It was Michael Keane and Yerry Mina in the centre of the defence with Luca Dean at left back. And then, of course, the front three was Andros Townsend, Damari Gray, and Solomon Rondon, and Alex Iwobi, whichever way you wanna see that one. So we were already, like I said, weakened, quite significantly from the side that beat Burnley on Monday night. Almost the entire spine of the team taken out. We're 5 games into a Premier League season and we're already missing our 2 strikers, our 2 main strikers, our 2 focal points, our 2 goal scorers. We all said on a number of occasions last season and even leading into this season that what happens if Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison are injured at the same time? Who scores the goals? Obviously, we've got Damari Gray, who's come in and scored a few in his opening few games, which has been brilliant, and Townsend as well. But we all sat here as Evertonians and said, well, what happens if both Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin pick up injuries? Because we simply don't have any other goal scorers within the team. Both Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, 4-5 games into a Premier League season, are now injured and could be out for 2 to 3 weeks. Seamus Coleman, who, of course, as I mentioned, the club captain, out injured, completely disturbs the balance of the side. Ben Godfrey having to go over and play right back on Saturday, and for as good as he done in the first half, I thought he worked hard, I thought he battled, I thought he got up the pitch, but the more and more the game went on, certainly in that second half, you could see that A, he's not a right back, as the third goal proved quite clearly, and B, he's not fit either. We're not only we playing a centre-back at right-back, we're also playing an unfit centre-back at right-back, which isn't very good. And then, of course, as I said, Jordan Pickford. Jordan Pickford obviously being out injured, which isn't ideal either. Asmir Begovic, listen, again, I had no big issue with Asmir Begovic stepping in and taking over from Jordan. However, it's not ideal when you've got sort of when everything is settled, and Jordan obviously had done really well in the opening couple of games of the season, not made any mistakes, stood strong, made a couple of really good saves as well. So, again, it just completely disturbed the flow and the balance of the side, and this is something that we don't really speak about an awful lot, but I think we should talk about more, and it's that word, balance. I think it's the main focal reason as to why we dropped off last season in October, November time. If you remember, we went 7 wins on the bounce last season, 4 out of 4 in the Premier League, top of the league, everything was going great, and then early into November, just after the international break, Seamus Coleman picked up an injury, and all of a sudden it completely disturbed the flow of the side. I think it was in the derby, he picked up an injury, and Ben Godfrey had to come in for his debut and play at right back. And like I said, Ben's a fantastic player, centre back, absolutely wonderful centre back, done brilliant at left back when he had to last season, and will step in at right back and do a job when he needs to. But it's become evidently clear since joining Everton Football Club that Ben Godfrey isn't a right back. He just isn't a right back. And that was clear again on the weekend, but we've known that anyway. And again, like I said, last season, obviously Seamus, picked up an injury, was taken out, Ben had to play at right back. I think John Joe Kenny had gone on loan at this point, and it just completely disturbed the balance of the side. It completely disturbed the flow of the side, and I feel like that's exactly what happened on Saturday. We're having to change the squad around drastically. Solomon Rondon is a similar striker to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but I don't think he's a similar striker to Richarlison. So playing him up front on his own without that, without Richarlison next to him, obviously was a hindrance. He worked hard and he battled and he held the ball up, but just didn't really have the runners off him. He didn't really have I don't think he had the match fitness to be able to control that game up front on his own. Like I said, Ben Godfrey playing at right back, an unnatural centre back a centre back in an unnatural position. I just think the injuries completely disturbed the flow and the balance of the side. And I said that in Instant Match Reaction, I really don't want to hear any other fan of any other football club talking to me about injury luck and about how, oh, they've got the worst injury luck or this, that and the other. Everton have got the worst injury luck by far in the Premier League, by far. It's not even a question, it's not even a debate. I won't be heard any otherwise by any other fan that their club suffer more with injuries than Everton. We're 5 games into a Premier League season. Our number 1 goalkeeper is out for 3 weeks, our captain is out for 3 weeks, and our 2 strikers are out for 3 weeks. Not to mention the fact that that technically our best player or our playmaker hasn't been seen so far and could potentially be leaving the club as well, which I know isn't an injury, but obviously he's been out with an injury, or with fitness issues. So again, we knew, as I said, even before the game from the team news, that this had gone from a difficult test to a really, really difficult test, and you could see that throughout the game as well. I think there was periods in the game where Everton almost looked like they were playing with 10 men. It was a bit mad, really. There was times when, certainly in that second half after the goals went in, that Aston Villa were just completely dominating, and it almost seemed like Everton had gone from a strong 11 men performance to having somebody sent off in a silly manner and going down to 10 men and not being able to cope. But in reality, we still had 11 men on the pitch. Anyway, let's get into the game. Like I said, obviously we knew going into it, it was a big game for Solomon Rondon. He was going to have a massive responsibility on his hands up front. Big game for the likes of Damari Gray and Andros Townsend as well. Really, really tough test for them. And of course, the centre-backs, Yerry Mina and Michael Keane, having to deal with 2 really good, really potent attackers in Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins was never, ever going to be easy. And I actually think Everton managed that first half really, really well, to be honest with you. It wasn't a great first half performance. It wasn't a great game of football, effectively, a little bit like the game against Burnley, I suppose. It wasn't a great first half of football whatsoever by any stretch of the imagination, but I think Everton managed it really, really well. We battled, we fought, we were creating chances of our own. We had a chance early on in the game with Solomon Rondon where the ball gets cut across the box. I think Ben Godfrey plays a really nice ball across the box. Solomon Rondon just can't sort his feet out, and ends up obviously taking the shot, and it goes out for the corner. There was another one a little bit later on in the first half where Damari Gray burst into the box, and just when you think he's going to pull the trigger and have a shot, he doesn't. He passes it across the box, and again, Solomon Rondon just is a yard off the pace, just can't quite get to it. And you're sort of thinking in that situation, well, I was thinking anyway, don't know about anybody else was thinking, why didn't Damari Gray just hit it with his left foot, hit it across goalkeeper? We've seen him score on a couple of occasions from those areas before at Everton, so why didn't he do it again? But he was obviously looking for Solomon Rondon and thinking that was the better sort of option. Villa had their chances as well. Matty Cash had a couple of shots that were comfortably saved by Asmir Begovic. Danny Ings had one that just went over the bar. Obviously, Tyrone Mings had a header early on in the first half, which was a great save by Asmir Begovic. Really, really good save, completely unmarked from the corner. Gets the head on it, and Begovic dips it over, which was, like I said, a fantastic save. So it was very end-to-end, but like I said, a very well managed first half, I feel, from Everton, and you're seeing in that first half how I suppose the capabilities of Rafa Benitez as a manager who's very good at game management. We'd gone into the game with massive injury issues, with massive issues to the squad depth, where we could only field 8 substitutes out of a possible 9. The majority of those substitutes were players that, ultimately were never going to come on and affect the game. A couple of young players in there as well who, again, it was very clear to see, weren't ready or on another day with a fit squad wouldn't have been in the squad. So I think Rafa Benitez and that Everton side managed the game really, really well in the first half. Yes, Villa had a couple of chances that, we could have done with avoiding, but Everton had a couple of chances as well. Like I said, on another day, we could have went in 1-0 at half-time, and all of a sudden, being looking very bright. I think Yerry Mina and Michael Keane dealt with the 2 forwards brilliantly. I do. Again, we'll talk about the defence in the second half, and Luca Dean, obviously, in the second half, but I think both centre-halves kept Aston Villa's forward line relatively quiet for the entire game. I think it could have been a much worse result had Yerry Mina and Michael Keane not put in such a solid performance, and maybe I should have rated them a little bit higher on the player ratings because of that. But like I said, it's never an easy afternoon when you're having to deal with Danny Ings. He's a seasoned, top quality Premier League striker. He's not an easy striker to deal with. And I think Yerry Mina and Michael Keane dealt with them really, really well. So, like I said, an interesting first half. Certainly an interesting first half. I think we managed it well. Wasn't great, but for what we had and for the injuries that we had to the side, I think we done okay in that first half. And I was sort of looking at it at that point thinking, right, go out, do the same in the second half, get a point, come away with a point, and we'll move on to obviously QPR tomorrow on Tuesday, and then obviously Norwich on Saturday, where we can go out hopefully a little bit more refreshed, maybe a couple of players back, but you know, again, against the Norwich side that we should be beating at home, and I was happy with that first half performance, and I'd have been happy to come away with a point and to have played the same in the second half. Like I said, Rondon was working hard, he was keeping the ball, had a couple of chances himself that he was probably unlucky to not score, but he was keeping hold of the ball well. Again, it's very easy to look at Solomon Rondon's performance on Saturday and think, oh, he was awful, he didn't do anything, you know, where was the attack and play, where was the, you know, forward play, but he held the ball up well on a number of occasions, and he used his strength, he used his ability, he used his physicality to trouble Aston Villa's back line. I thought Damari Gray was exciting. I thought Andros Townsend was, again, not as lively as we'd probably like him to be, but was still involved, getting around the pitch, trying to create chances. If you're enjoying, by the way, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second to be watching live. Get involved in the live comments. We'll get involved with as many of them as we possibly can, and if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. One thing I would say about the first half, which I felt was a little bit of a worry, as I don't think we won the midfield battle. Whilst I think Alan and Decore played well, Alan and Abdoulaye Decore played well, I just don't think they won that midfield battle in the first half, and there was a couple of times that they were pushed off the ball far too easily. There was a couple of times where Aston Villa found it far too easy to get forward. Matty Cash must have had about 43 shots in that first half from the same area. Now, obviously, luckily enough, Asmir Begovic managed to deal with them well, but it was far too easy for Aston Villa to break forward on a couple of occasions, and it almost seemed like when Everton were attacking, we were having to work a lot harder than Aston Villa were when they were attacking. And that was something that I sort of looked at half time, and I thought, you know, if we're going to get anything out of this game, we need to fix up on that. We really, really need to fix up on that. We need to be a lot better in that midfield. We need to be a lot better in that midfield battle. And then obviously, like I said, we go in at half time. I was happy. Personally, I was happy. I thought, you know what, we're playing well. We're managing the game well, considering the situation that we're in, and let's hopefully go out and do the same in the second half. Obviously, it all drastically changed in the second half, didn't it? Let's get into some of the live comments then, before we do get into that second half performance. Stephen says, still fuming about the amount of injuries every year we get is crazy. Something needs changing at the training ground. Well, again, like I said, it is easy for me to say, look, and we're unlucky, and we're the unluckiest team in the world, but it is quite worrying the amount of injuries we seem to pick up year on year on year on year. I think last year we were the only Premier League team to have every first team player out injured at any one given point. This year we're 4 or 5 games in to a Premier League season, and we've already got 4 or 5 key players out injured, and it is easy for me to say we're the unluckiest team in the world, and nobody gets worse injured after us, and maybe that is the case, but it is happening frequently, isn't it? You know, this isn't a rare occasion. This is something that's gone on for a long time at Everton Football Club, and very clearly needs addressing. I don't know how. Maybe we are just cursed. Maybe we are just the most unluckiest side in the world. Or maybe something needs changing in the training regime. I don't know, or the fitness regimes. I don't know, but it's not good. It isn't good because, again, as I said, I can't remember. I've spoken countless amounts of times on this channel, on Toffee TV, on other channels about how we really, really need to be careful, because if Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison pick up injuries at the same time, we don't have goal scorers in this team. Now, like I said, granted, Damari Gray's come in and obviously chipped in with goals, which has been very important, but what if Damari Gray, stops again? What if he hits a bad run of form, and you've got Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin out for 2 to 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks? Who scores the goals for Everton? That's my biggest worry. Where do Everton's goals come from tomorrow night against QPR? Where do Everton's goals come from on Saturday against Norwich? Yet we can say Damari Gray and Andros Townsend, but without those two, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, it's a worry for me. It is a worry. Where were we then? Mike says, hiya mate, how are you? I'm not too bad mate, hope you're doing well yourself. Mike Stevens says, Kabama needs to play tomorrow and start to show something, or he might be moving on in January. Well, let's hope he's fit. Let's hope he's fit to play tomorrow. John Jones says, good evening John, hope you're well my mate. Glenn says, sorry I'm 7 minutes late, Cam the man. No worries my mate, don't need to apologise. Tom says, imperative we get through the next 2 games. QPR and Norwich with wins, take the pressure off United game, which might be a free hit. Hopefully back to full strength against West Ham. Yeah, couldn't agree more, my mate. Glenn says, good vote of confidence for John Joe. Oh my God, they've killed Kenny's career. I said it in the reaction the other day, and look, maybe I was a little bit harsh on John Joe Kenny, but I just think that if you're the backup right back to Seamus Coleman, and Seamus Coleman picks up an injury which is going to keep him out for a couple of weeks, and the manager prefers an unfit centre-back at right-back ahead of you, a natural right-back, then I just don't think that is any sort of indication that John Joe Kenny's got a future at Everton Football Club. I really, really don't. If Everton were to sit here and try and tell us that John Joe has got a future, then why not play him on Saturday? Why not put him in at right-back? Clearly, and Rafa Benitez isn't the first manager to think like this. Clearly, Rafa Benitez thinks that Ben Godfrey as an unfit centre-back playing right-back is a better option than a natural right-back in John Joe Kenny, which isn't a good look for John Joe Kenny. Jack the Lad says, wonder who next Rafa will fall out with. The same happened in Real. Did you see what Ronaldo said about Rafa? I did, but again, I don't think the James situation is as much Rafa falling out with him, and I think James Rodriguez doesn't want to be at Everton. It's as simple as that. He doesn't want to be here. Stephen says, Iwobi is only good on coming on the last 10 minutes. Jack the Lad says, so, wish we went for Moyes. Well, listen, Moyes has obviously stayed at West Ham and doing a good job there, isn't he? I think David Moyes wanted guarantees that he wasn't able to be given, but look, who knows, maybe he just wants to stay at West Ham. John says, why is it taking Everton 16 years to realise Joe Kenny is not good enough? Aston says, hiya mate, just subscribe, nice to meet you, love your content, thank you very much Aston, really appreciate that my mate, thanks for joining the channel. And Jack the Lad says, Rafa went from Real to Newcastle, fell out with the players, you think he's here to stay at the club? He may get points, but he's going to destroy that dressing room. Well listen, let's wait and see, anyway, because ultimately, look, James may well be on his way out now, and if that is the case, then, you know, we'll wait and see how that affects Everton this season, but nothing we can do at this point, is it? Nothing we can do at this point. So yeah, as I said, we go in at half time, and for me, I thought it was a decent half of football. I think Everton managed it well. I think we had chances. Don't get me wrong, I think Villa had chances as well. If you're enjoying, by the way, please hit the like button. It does only take a second, and if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. Like I said, don't get me wrong, I think Villa had chances. I think Villa had opportunities to score as well, and maybe we wouldn't be talking about the first half as in such a positive manner if they had taken those chances. But Everton had their fair share as well. Like I said, if DeMari Gray takes a shot instead of trying to square it to Solomon Rondon, then maybe, you know, again, maybe we 1-0 up. Or if Solomon Rondon is a yard of pace fitter than what he currently is, then maybe he gets on the end of it and we go 1-0 up. But ultimately, I think it was a well-managed first half. And I think it was a first half where you were looking and you were sort of thinking, we're doing all right here. We're doing all right. Considering the injuries, considering the disbalance of the squad, we were doing all right. I think Ben Godfrey performed well in the first half. I think you could see him getting forward. You could see him getting down that right-hand side, creating chances. Like I said, created the chance for Solomon Rondon early on, bursting down that right-hand side. The usual Ben Godfrey. The Ben Godfrey that we know and love, and we become to love last season, bursting down that wing, powerful runs, no player being able to get near him, defending well as well. I do think he was caught out of position a couple of times in that first half, which was a worry, and should have been a worry. But I thought he done well. And then we come out in the second half, and again, we started, I think, the better team, to be honest with you. For the 10 or 15 minutes before Aston Villa scored, I think Everton were the better side. We were getting forward a lot more. We were looking the more likely to score. That was what the difference was. All of a sudden, the game sort of flipped. Aston Villa weren't really creating many chances. They weren't really troubling Asmir Begovic. However, Everton were getting forward, and all of a sudden, we're putting the foot on the gas a little bit. DeMari Gray had a shot just before Villa scored their opening goal, which again was unlucky. Tries to curl the ball into the right-hand corner of the goal and it just goes wide. Again, like I said, unlucky that one. On another day that curls in and it's 1-0 and it's a different story. And just Townsend got forward on a couple of occasions and tried to create chances. Like I said, Solomon Rondon got the ball caught in his feet a couple of times. Alex Iwobi had a chance which was cleared for a corner. So Everton was certainly looking the more likely to score. And, you know, again, like I said, we'd put our foot on the gas a little bit and all of a sudden we're getting forward and ultimately, I think, troubling Aston Villa. And then, in typical Everton fashion, through our own doing and our own stupid mistakes, from nothing comes an opening goal for Aston Villa. You know, like I said, Aston Villa weren't really putting an awful lot of pressure on Everton at this point. Everton was certainly the team that were looking likely to score. Everton was certainly the team that were getting forward. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they get a throw in, I think. Luca Dean is completely caught completely caught the wrong side of Matty Cash. Matty Cash spins him inside out and then finds it far too easy to break into the box, get a shot off, and obviously it blasts past Asmir Begovic. And all of a sudden, we've gone from looking the more likely team to score to being 1-0 down completely against the run of play. And I think it was from that point on, that as I alluded to before, I think it was from that point on that we almost started to seem like we were playing with 10 men. And I'm not just saying that because we then conceded 2 in the space of 7 minutes, but we really, I think the edge dropped them. And almost that energy that was being sort of exerted because of the fact that a lot of players were having to work, 10%, 20% harder than what they usually having to work, because of the fact that certain players weren't available that, usually would give us a different option. I seen a couple of tweets at half time on Saturday saying if Dominic Calvert-Lewin's on the pitch, Everton are winning 3-0 by now, and I agree. I really, really do agree. I think if Dominic Calvert-Lewin had been fit for this game, Everton had been 2-3-0 up come half time, and it'd have been, we'd have been comfortable. But ultimately, look, he wasn't. He was injured, and we can't change that. So I'm not going to sit here and do the if but and maybe situation. He wasn't there, and we lost the game. Like I said, far too easy for Matty Cash to spin Luca Dean. I love Luca Dean more than the next Evertonian. I really, really do. But he had a shocker on Saturday, and it is important. It's important that even when players that we all universally love and laud as Everton players, and we think they're brilliant, it's important that when they perform poorly, we talk about it. Because if this was Andre Gomez being spun inside out, there'd be people talking about it on Twitter still today. If it was Alex Iwobi being spun inside out, if it was Michael Keane being spun like that, people would have been, and I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, and I'm not saying that people should, have a go at Luca Dean or turn on Luca Dean, etc., etc. Luca Dean's brilliant. He hasn't had a great start of the season in terms of his delivery into the box, but he's done well. He hasn't particularly put a foot wrong before Saturday. He's done okay, and we know the quality that Luca Dean possesses. He's an absolutely brilliant footballer. But it's important that when players make mistakes, we highlight those mistakes so that they don't make them again. And for me, this isn't a mistake that you look at and you go, easy one to make that, Lucas, do a bit better next time. That's Sunday League. You don't get caught the wrong side of your man. You don't get caught in possession like that. You just don't. He gets completely spun. Like I said, Matty Cash runs into the box and then fires it beyond Asmir Begovic. Should Asmir Begovic have done a bit better? Maybe, but it was Adam at a ferocious, probably about 45 million miles an hour and blasted past him. Should there have been more defensive cover for Luca Dean once Matty Cash run into the box? I thought it was far too easy for Matty Cash to, to find that space and get that shot away. But nevertheless, Luca Dean can't be getting spun like that. He's caught the wrong side of his man, and it's far too easy for Luca Dean, for Matty Cash to turn him inside out. And like I said, again, let's not go over the top here and start saying that he's this, he's that, he's awful, he's this, he's that, he's the other, because he's had one bad game. But he had a bit of a shocking 10-15 minutes there, didn't he? And ultimately, look, you expect a player of the quality and of the experience of Luca Dean to do better in that situation. Every player can have a bad game, but you expect a player of the experience of Luca Dean to not be caught out like he was caught out on Saturday. I just think it was poor. And yeah, all of a sudden, Everton go 1-0 down. And you're sort of thinking, right, massive uphill battle now. Massive uphill battle. Not only are we 1-0 down against the Villa side who are looking good and obviously have got, you know, a lot of good players, a lot of talent in their team, but we 1-0 down against the Villa side without our two main goal scorers. And, you know, again, with a massive uphill battle now to try and get back into this game. If you're enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. It does only take a second if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe as well. If you could share the stream on social media, that would mean a great deal to me as well. That would be absolutely boss. If you'd be as nice as to share the stream, that would be great. But yeah, like I said, we go 1-0 down, and all of a sudden, it becomes a massive uphill task for Everton now to get back in the game, and for Everton to now try and get something out of the game. And all of a sudden, within 5 minutes, Villa break again. They get a corner comes in, and like I said, Luca Dean's afternoon goes from bad to worse, doesn't it, really? He jumps, I think, to be fair to Luca Dean, I think he jumps to try and get something on the corner because he hasn't had a shout. He obviously hasn't had a shout from, you know, from his goalkeeper or from either of his other defenders to either leave it or to clear it. I think he just tries to get something on it through fear that there's an attacker behind him ready to nod it in. And in doing that, he gets an head on it. It loops over Asmir Begovic and goes into the back of the net. And like I said, Luca Dean's gone from being at fault for the first goal to scoring an own goal for the second. And at this point, I think the game was pretty much beyond Everton's capability then. I just don't think we were in a situation to get back into a game like this. We didn't have the strength in the squad. We didn't have the strength in the side. We were never going to come back from 2-0 down. We were never going to come back from 2-0 down. And yeah, you look at this goal and you think, could it have been avoided? Absolutely. And this is the most frustrating thing, is that Everton weren't poor on Saturday. We didn't play poorly. We had a mad moment of 10 minutes where we were just, everything went out the window. A little bit like there was a mad moment of 6 minutes on Monday against Burnley, only it was in Everton's favour. We had a mad 10-minute spell where we just, again, we threw everything, but every goal that we conceded was through our own fault, was through our own mistake. We haven't conceded a goal that you look at and you go, do you know what, world class that. We've conceded the first goal, which was silly defending and quite frankly, pathetic defending from Luca Dean. I love Luca Dean, but it was poor. We've conceded the second, which is an own goal, which effectively Aston Villa had to do nothing for. Now, again, obviously it's Luca Dean's fault because he had the ball in the back of the net. Should he have got a call from the goalkeeper? I believe he should. I believe Asmir Begovic, who's looking at that ball, should be screaming all day long, leave that, I'll come and collect it. Or, get it out, head it out. Don't head it backwards, head it out. And I just don't think there was a lack of communication there. And then the third goal, Ben Godfrey decides to just allow Leon Bailey to run through on goal and get the shot off. It was the easiest goal Leon Bailey will ever score, all in all of his career. So all three goals are massively avoidable, and that's what is frustrating when you're losing games like this. And we lost so many games like this last season, where we'd sit here after the game and we'd have lost 2-0 or 3-0, and on sort of, without context, you'd think, oh, Everton were battered at the weekend, 3-0 against Villa. They were absolutely battered. But in reality, we had a mad 10-minute spell, and for the rest of the game beyond that, for the other 80 minutes, we were probably the better team, and we managed the game really well. But not only did we have a mad 8-9 minute spell, but that 8-9 minute spell come through our own mistakes. Every goal conceded was through a mistake of our own, and that's the most frustrating thing, and that's the that's the thing that, again, is the most worrying, is because we're not losing games, we're not conceding goals that you look at and you think, oh, absolutely, we're not conceding Andros Townsend style wheelies from 35 yards where you look at and you go, do you know what can you do about that? We're conceding goals where there's always somebody to blame. Whether it's Michael Keane a couple of weeks ago against Southampton, whether it was Mason Holgate last season, whether it's Luca Dean on Saturday, there's always somewhere to pinpoint Ben Godfrey for the third goal. And that needs to stop. That really needs to stop. We need to stop. We don't need to give teams help in scoring goals. We don't. Good teams will score goals through their own means. And if them teams can't score goals, boss, because it means Everton gets something out of the game, either a point or 3 points. We do not need to help teams score goals. I'm sick of reviewing and talking about Everton performances and watching Everton games of football where, we're conceding goals and we're sitting here saying that was avoidable. that was avoidable. That was avoidable. This was avoidable. Why didn't this player do this or that player do that? We need to simply stop helping teams score effectively. Because a lot of teams don't need the help, and Everton don't need to be helping sides to score by silly defensive mistakes. And that's what it was on Saturday. It was a mad 8-9 minutes of stupid defensive mistakes that ultimately resulted in Aston Villa scoring 3 goals and making us pay for those mistakes, and Everton not being able to get back in the game. Which is worrying, but also disappointing. Disappointing because I don't think it was a 3-0 game. As I said, I really, really don't think it was a 3-0 game. But anyway, the second one goes in. Luka Dean's looped the ball over Asmir Begovic. Could Asmir Begovic have given him a shout? Potentially. Could one of the other defenders have given him a shout? Probably. It goes to 2-0. Again, scratching your head. How do we get back in this game? Maybe if we get 1 goal, then it's sort of, again, Aston Villa start to panic a little bit. They start to worry. And then we can go and break and try and get an equaliser. A couple of minutes later, again, Ben Godfrey at this point has completely left Leon Bailey. Like I said, I love Ben. I think he's absolutely brilliant. One thing he's not is a right back. And that's why my criticism of Ben Godfrey in this situation will be stopped at a certain point, because I'm not going to sit here and, talk for 10-15 minutes about how poor Ben Godfrey's performance was. Luka Dean is a natural left back. He shouldn't be getting caught on the wrong side of his man on the left hand side of the pitch. He shouldn't be getting spun that easily. He is a left back by trade. Ben Godfrey isn't a right back. So yes, it was very, very poor defending, and he should have done an awful lot better. But he's a centre back playing out of position, and he's not even 100% fit. He's not even 100% fit. He's only just returning after a period of being out through isolation and not being able to train or, prepare for games with the rest of the side. So, listen, Ben Godfrey completely leaves Leon Bailey. His positioning is woeful, to be fair, and that is something he needs to improve on, because you can't be that poorly positioned. If his positioning was spot on and Bailey just beat him for pace, or Bailey went round him and beat him for pace, then I'd say, listen, he's clearly not fit. He's not a right back. Understandable, but he was miles out of position, which is unacceptable. Bailey has the easiest run on goal, as I said, gets 1-on-1 with Asmir Begovic, fires it past Asmir Begovic. It's 3-0 in 9 minutes, and the game is done. Over. Like I said, game, set, match. Everton are 3-0 down, and that was it then. For the rest of it, like I said, we pretty much performed for the other 15-20 minutes like we had 10 men. We couldn't get back in the game. We got forward on a couple of occasions, but lost the ball. Every time we got forward. Villa again didn't really threaten us beyond that point, but obviously at that point we're 3-0 up, so we're never really interested in getting through us and threatening us, I don't think. And Everton end up losing the game. But like I said, most frustrating thing is every goal conceded is a goal that is avoidable, and that is just. That's something Everton really, really need to work on. Really, really need to work on. We will be getting in the live comments in a minute, by the way, so if you're enjoying, please do get your thoughts in the live comments. If you're watching as a YouTube video, get your thoughts down below in the YouTube comments. If you're enjoying, please hit that like button as well, and don't forget to subscribe. Could the goalkeeper have done better for both the second and third? Maybe. I think the third goal is hit at him from very close range, with a lot of power. However, I understand that. Yeah, he probably could have done a little bit better. To be honest with you, he probably could have stood a little bit stronger. He could have made his body a little bit bigger, because it was hit straight at him. To be fair, again, I get that it was hit with a lot of power and a lot of pace, etc. But it was hit very much straight at him, so he could have stood stronger, and potentially saved that. But look, again, I don't think he's directly to blame for any of the three, to be honest with you. The biggest worry for me now is the injuries, is the fitness. You look at somebody like a Luka Dean, and listen, like I said, I love Luka Dean. I think he's great. I think he's one of the best left backs in world football, and I'm not by any stretch of the imagination advocating Luka Dean coming out the Everton side or being replaced or being taken out because he's had one bad game or 1 or 2 bad games. I'm not advocating that. But what would have been ideal, what would have been absolutely perfect, is if Rafa Benitez could have put his arm around Luka Dean today, on Monday, and said to him, listen, you had a bit of a struggle. You had a bit of a struggle the other day, made a couple of mistakes. We're going to take you out for the QPR game. And, not because you're getting dropped or you're not good enough, but we're going to give you the rest to cup game against the championship side. We're going to put this lad in instead, maybe a Niles Nkunku, or ironically a Thierry Small. You're going to come out, you're going to have a rest, and then you'll be back in against Norwich. But we haven't got the luxury to do that now. We loaned, obviously, Niles Nkunku out to Standard Liège, and, you know, Thierry Small is obviously left the football club. Joe Anderson, far too young to come in, and we've got no other option. So, unfortunately, the way I see it is Luca Dean has to play through this bad form, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe playing through the mistakes on Saturday will help him, because maybe he'll go out tomorrow and have a brilliant game and score and assist, and that game on Saturday will be forgotten and he'll have loads of confidence going into the game against Norwich. Maybe that's the case, but not only is this a worry for me because we haven't got the ability to take Luca Dean out, but as Wormy says, Dean is overplayed, I would say, Semi. There's no other option. What happens if what are we going to do if we get to the same situation with Dean as we were last season? Let's not forget, Luca Dean spent 3 months out last season with an injury he had to have surgery for, and Ben Godfrey had to step in at left back. Are we going to rely again this season on Ben Godfrey stepping in at left back? Again, Ben's a natural centre-half, a brilliant centre-half, and he's not even fit enough to play in that position yet. So who plays left back tomorrow against QPR? It'll have to be Luca Dean. We've got no other option, have we? So even if we wanted to take Luca Dean out to give him a little bit of a rest, or to allow him, you know, a game or so to sit on the sidelines and watch, we've got no option to do that. We've simply got no option to do that, because we've left ourselves short. I don't think we ever should have loaned out Niles Nkunku. I get why we did, to give him experience and so he can go and play first team football, and because he probably wanted to be loaned out because he was probably sick of being a number 2. But we've now left ourselves short with defensive cover. Now the club might say, well, we haven't, because we've got Ben Godfrey that can play there, we've got young Joe Anderson, we've got John Joe Kenny who might be able to play there, we've got obviously Fabian Delph when he returns to fitness. But I just don't think any of those names are ideal. You put Ben Godfrey at left back and he'll do a brilliant job defensively, but our attacking play is non-existent, because he's not an attacker. He's a centre half playing left back, so he's not going to blast forward. He broke forward a couple of times the other day, and then he was caught out of possession, so he ain't going to do that again. So again, it completely disturbs the balance of the team and the way in which we would like to play. So that's my worry going into Tuesday, into tomorrow against QPR, and then Saturday against Norwich. My worry isn't the fact that we lost 3-0. It's not the performance, because like I said, I don't think we particularly performed poorly. It's not the fact that we conceded 3 goals, because I think they were all defensive mistakes that could be resolved quite easily in training and on the training field. It's the fact that our squad is drastically weakened now, and I just look at it and think, who comes in for Abdoulaye Doucouré? Is Jean-Philippe Gbamin going to be fit? We know he missed out on Saturday because he felt like he didn't want to hurt himself, or he felt a knock in training. Is he going to be fit for tomorrow's game? And if not, does Abdoulaye Doucouré have to start then? Because ideally he'd come out. Does Alan come out? Does Tom Davis go in, or will Alan start? Is Damari Gray and Andros Townsend going to play again? Because we've got no other option. Will Ellis Sims get some game time? Is Solomon Rondon going to play again, even though he's just played and he isn't at 100% fit, and we'll need him for Saturday against Norwich? Who plays at centre half? I think centre half probably our strongest position at the moment in regards to players available. Is John Joe Kenny going to play at right back? If so, then why can't he play at right back in the Premier League? This is me worry. My worry at the moment is how we get through this period of 3 to 4 weeks, or 2 to 3 weeks, whatever, without Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, Jordan Pickford and Seamus Coleman. I just don't think this Everton squad have got the capabilities and the facilities for that, big man, to get through a period of 3 or 4 weeks without those 4 key players, our club captain and number 1 goalkeeper, and our 2 strikers. We'll get through it, of course we will, because it's football and we'll have to get through it, but will we get through it performing well and picking up good results? I don't know. That's me worry. That really is me worry. But look, again, like I said, I think a positive, sort of a semi-positive we can take from Saturday is that we had all of those injuries, we had all of those fitness issues, and we still performed well up until we conceded the first goal, and every goal we conceded was through a defensive mistake of players that would be in the first team anyway. It wasn't like it was mistakes of players that are coming in to replace the players that have gone out, and we're looking thinking, oh my god, the drop off in quality is drastic. It was players like Luca Dean, who starts every week and should do better, and Ben Godfrey, who should be doing better as well. So, like I said, if we can take one slight positive from this game, is that it wasn't a 3-0 whatsoever. We performed really well in the first half, that we managed the game well, and other than that 9 minutes, I thought we done okay. We just fell to bits when we conceded the first goal, which isn't good enough, and obviously we need to do better in. But look, we pick ourselves up and we move on, don't we? I suppose we pick ourselves up and we move on. Let's get in the live comments then before we finish up. As I said, if you're enjoying this live stream, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. That would mean an absolutely fantastic amount to me. Where are we? Loads of comments, loads and loads of comments today. Big thanks to everybody for commenting. Really appreciate it. John says the fans' two favourites, Hammers and Godfrey, hardly playing Rafa's endeavours. I don't think Ben Godfrey's been out through isolation and through, you know, he's not being well, so it's not. Ben Godfrey will play a lot this season. He's just not been fit enough to play, so that's why he hasn't played. Shannon says, yeah, I agree. Moyes clearly wants to come back. Pretty sure he accidentally mentioned Everton again instead of West Ham the other day. I don't know. Listen, maybe David Moyes did want to come back, but maybe the club didn't feel that David Moyes was the right fit. And let's be honest, had David Moyes had rejoined Everton this summer, there'd have been a lot of Evertonians who weren't happy with that either. So, you're never going to please everybody. Shannon says, Rafa knows the fans want to see Hammers in the flesh. That's why he's doing this. He doesn't care. He'd rather Liverpool in the league than Everton, no doubt. I doubt that. We've just done a live stream before on James Rodriguez. If you haven't checked that one out, please do so after this live stream. But I said in that live stream that, you know, for as much as the club might want to move James Rodriguez on because of his wages and his, you know, this, that and the other, James Rodriguez doesn't want to be at Everton. Let's not get it twisted. James Rodriguez doesn't want to be here. We can talk all we like about Rafa Benitez and that he doesn't fit in this, that, the other. James Rodriguez doesn't want to be at Everton. It's as clear as day. Peter says, it does make you wonder when these training videos and pics come out, what date were they actually filmed, because what I remember, Coleman, Richie, Pickford and Gabam were all in training in the video. Yeah, it is interesting, that one. That baffles me a little bit. You know, when the club are putting training videos out a couple of days before the game, with the whole squad quite clearly training, and then it gets to the game and it's, oh no, this player's out for 3 weeks, he's hurt himself. Well, how is he in a training video, and why, and B, why are you publishing a training video with a player known full well he's not going to be available on the weekend? But I don't know. Jack says, do you wish we went for Moyes? Cam, he wouldn't have let Hammers leave. I don't think James Rodriguez fits into a David Moyes system either. Look at West Ham's team. Is there anybody in that West Ham team that is allowed to just come in and out when he pleases and, you know, not give it 110% in training? Or is there any unreliable players in that West Ham team? I don't think there is. I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I think if David Moyes was Everton manager now, James Rodriguez would still be leaving the football club. Peter says, surely they're not all getting a knock the day before the game. Yeah, well, yeah. Sam says, squad is paid with him, mate. Times like these get me really frustrated with FFP, as we seem to be the only team in the league affected by it. The big six are always going to be protected by it. Shame. Spot on. They will always be. It's financial unfair play, mate. It's to make sure that those teams are at the top and that everybody below, doesn't affect those teams at the top. Martin says, can we put a wig on Big Dunk and put him in a DCL shape like it still don't fit? Big Dunk might have to get called up, mate. He might see him play tomorrow. By the way, we will be live a little bit later on this afternoon with the game preview ahead of Everton's Carabao Cup fixture against QPR tomorrow evening, so don't forget to check that one out as well. If you're new and you're thinking, how do we keep up to date with all of these videos and these different bits of content, hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell notification. It means that later on, when we go live with the preview to the QPR game, you can be sunbathing in your garden, you can be having a pint, you can be watching the telly, you can be making toast, you can be doing anything, and you'll get a little notification on your phone going, oh, the Mighty Blues have uploaded there. I'll jump on it straight away. So please hit that subscribe button with the bell notification. Peter says, also having a creative sub like James against Villa, no matter what the circumstances, could have made a difference when we started playing a high alarm to try and get a goal back. I agree. Listen, if James Rodriguez was fit, he should have been in that squad on Saturday. I agree. I'm not disagreeing by any stretch of the imagination. I'm really not disagreeing by any stretch of the imagination. However, what happens if James Rodriguez said, I'm not fit and I don't want to play? What happens if James Rodriguez said, yeah, okay, I know you might need me, you might want me, but I want to go and play in Qatar, and I'm going to get a move to Qatar next week, so I don't want to risk myself getting an injury, so I'm not ready. What's the manager meant to do in that situation? Jack lads, if James was in that team versus Villa, we would have had 3 points. I disagree, personally, but there you go. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and that's fair enough, Jack. That's fair enough. John says, if our strikers learned to head the ball down, we would have had more goals. This is basic what kids learn at football. Glenn says, top man Cam, do we have an opportunity to rest anyone against QPR, or is the squad too thin? Like, not enough butter spread across too much bread. What a shout. What a shout. Not enough butter spread across too much bread. Everybody knows you need to butter your bread and your toast correctly. You can't be having areas of the toast not buttered and areas of the toast with loads of butter. It's all about proportion. It's all about the entire piece of toast getting the same amount of butter, not just one bit getting loads of butter and the next bit getting no butter. Anyway, yeah, sorry about that. Bit passionate about toast. To answer your question, I don't know. We'll wait and see at 6:45 tomorrow evening, won't we? But I do feel like if we do rest players, then the quality of the squad drops drastically. But maybe that's what Rafa Benitez has got to do with a big game coming up on Saturday. We have to beat Norwich at Goodison, because again, they're a side that I don't think they've won a Premier League game so far this season. I don't even think they've picked up a point this season. And you've got to be beating sides like Norwich at Goodison. You simply have to. Smig says, James doesn't care about Everton. Football is his job and he is unavailable. Football, he needs to play for me, especially when DCL and Richie are out. Some people hated Lukaku, now hate James. That's scary. There you go. Interesting. I don't hate James, by the way. I just think that there's a lot more in this situation than what's being made out by different people on social media. I just think that it's not as easy as Rafa Benitez doesn't like James. James wants to stay at Everton, but Benitez is forcing him out. I don't think it's that. Cash and Bailey are what we needed. Here you go. Tom says, my grandma is probably fitter than Rondon and she's got a prosthetic leg. Can she play tomorrow night, mate? No money messing. Hope she's sound. Chad the lad says he hasn't done a stream being saying it's Rafa, not James. John says Dean was poor for pace more than positioning, I think, Cam. Yeah, but I think positioning as well, personally, but I agree. Smig says James could do something amazing out the blue every game to win you games. He could, I agree, but he can only do that if he's fit to play games, can't he? Can't do it if he's not playing. Martin says, yes, Cam, scran chat. Yes, my mate. John says, you need very thick bread, then make cuts in it, so we'll soak up more butter. Oh, absolutely, mate. It's got to soak up the butter. It's got to soak up the butter. Wormy says, Rondon is more foolishness. They could have had Rondon at the start of pre-season and he would have been fit instead of signing him in the last minute of the window. I agree. I think it's very hard to disagree with that. Big Dunk is well fitted than Rondon, says John. Ruben says, can you play right back and striker, Ruben? Lots of content today, says Shannon. Yes, another live stream a little bit later on, game preview ahead of the QPR game. John says, great podcast on the Everton official channel about Bramley-Moore. If you haven't heard it, folks, fancy listen, go out and give that a listen, definitely. Ruben says, I'll play left wing back, don't worry about Dean. Is right, and what a name, by the way. Ruben de Sousa. What a name. What a name that is, Ruben. Get down to Loftus Road tomorrow. You're playing left back, my mate. I'd much rather have Moyes than Benitez, says Sharon. There you go. Yeah, wait me. I'll do a job anyway for 10 minutes, says Ruben. Is right. Kabaman's slip come out the shower. I don't think he's injured, Kabaman. I don't think he's injured. I just think maybe it was a precaution. Play the youth team against QPR. I'm interested in league position in the FA Cup, says Martin. Fair enough. No way Rondon will play, says Ruben. We'll wait and see. Kabaman plays in Florida as soon as the Prem's back. He's injured again. I don't think he's injured. I just think it was a precaution thing. Dean played in the Euros, was injured, has come back, played every game for us, and will probably play on Tuesday and Saturday. He is overplayed as well. I'd agree. I would agree with that. To be honest with you, I would agree with that. But who comes out for Dean now? Because we haven't really got any other option, have we? Anyway, look, we're gonna finish it there then. Not a great result at the weekend, of course. Not a great result. I actually don't think it was that bad of a performance. Like I said, the first half, I think we managed the game well, and we had a bit of a mad 9-10 minute spell where we conceded 3 and completely capitulated. The biggest worry for me is, well, there's two big worries for me. The first is that every goal we seem to be conceding is through our own mistakes, and the second is the squad fitness and the lack of any real squad depth at the moment. I just don't know how we play tomorrow and then Saturday, and we go through those 2 games with players being at 110%. I don't know, but we'll wait and see. Of course, we will wait and see. Disappointing result. Obviously, never nice to lose a game of football. Never nice to lose your first game of football, but look, we pick ourselves up, we dust ourselves up. Hopefully we get a big win tomorrow against QPR in the Carabao Cup, and then hopefully we go on and beat Norwich in the Premier League again, obviously leading into the game against Man United, but we will wait and see on those. As I said, we will be back live later on today doing the game preview ahead of Everton's Carabao Cup fixture against QPR, so don't forget to join us for that one. We have already done a live stream today regarding James Rodriguez, so you can check that out if you haven't already, talking about his future and talking about the rumours and the latest news regarding James, so don't forget to check that one out. Not a great result on Saturday, but like I said, dust ourselves off and go again. If you've enjoyed this one, please hit the like button. Massive thank you to everybody in the live comments. Really do appreciate it. And if you're watching the YouTube video, leave your comments down below. If you've enjoyed it, please do hit that big thumbs up button. It takes a second. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell as well. Whammy says more than John Joe. Sol says Dean needs a rest mentally and physically. Must be trained off the Euro. Shame Small and Nas left. Yeah, that's Sol is right. Spot on. John says thanks, Cam, mate. Cheers, mate. Whammy says Fabian Delph. Haha. Oh, no surprise he is injured. Brandthwaite left back, says Sharon. Maybe. We'll wait and see. Anyway, big thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this one, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new as well. Semi says thanks. Take care, Cam. Cheers, my mate. Take care, everybody. Thank you very much, Semi. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues. Cheers for watching. See you after.